Hi there, everyone. Good afternoon. It's Beth Kozik from Elegant Greetings, and welcome to my studio. It is Saturday once again. This has been a really fast week, so it's time for our catalog copycat cards. And we always begin by reviewing the project from last week, and this was made with the Nature's Beauty stamp set and dies, and we added some designer paper and gave it a little bit of a kind of a distressed look by tearing it and curling up the edge. And then we used our blends markers to color in these really pretty flowers, added a sentiment, and then we cut the crochet style ribbon in half lengthwise to add this really pretty bow. So it's one of my favorite stamp sets in our new catalog, and I would love to give this away. So the way to have a chance at receiving the project that I make each week is by commenting. So I want to thank everybody who commented. We had lots of watchers this week, but not a lot of commenters. So we have a very few, and so your chances are really good of winning. And Missy, I don't know if this will be week number 4 for you, but we shall see. I certainly appreciate everybody watching. So let's go ahead and give away this project. And our winner is Lynn. Okay, wonderful. So Lynn, I will mail this to you just as soon as possible. I hope that you enjoy it. Today's project is from our new mini catalog, and this catalog is full of all kinds of wonderful things for holiday and Thanksgiving and Halloween and fall. And so this stamp set caught my eye. It is it's called Reflected in Nature, and it is so cool. It is one stamp, red rubber, looks like this. And it's a larger stamp, so it's probably, I don't know, it's like 3 by 3, so we require the larger block, which is, I think it's block H that goes with this one. So it is required to be able to stamp with it, but it is so cool. It has the cabin image here with all the forest, and then the reflection. So this is like the lake in front of the cabin. You can kind of tell that part because it has these little streams, kind of like the waves on the water or the ice. And when it's stamped, it creates this entire image. So we can stamp it all with one color. So let me show you how that would look. Here's a swap card I received from another demonstrator. Isn't that pretty? So this was simply done with our gray ink, and it's just the coolest thing ever. Super easy. One stamp and you get this cool image with the reflection in the water. So that's how to do it with one color. And here's another swap card that I received as well. And this one is done with a green color. Isn't that pretty? And then she also put a little Wink Stella, right? One of my favorite products over that. So you can kind of see the snow on the rooftop and in front of the cabin is glistening. Hopefully that shows on camera. So this is the way to do it, simply with one color ink. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do it with 2 colors of ink, so it's a little bit more versatile. So let's go ahead and review all the things we're going to need. We're going to make this card right here. We are on page 60, and this card right here, which I thought was so cool looking. So it has the 2 shades, a little bit of our twine, a sentiment. Oh, and I forgot the little red dots. I'm going to have to grab those real quick. So yeah, let's get started on this card. I'm really excited to make it. It's a fun stamp set to play with. So of course we have our stamp, and that's ready to go mounted. And you can kind of tell the difference, right? You can see which side is up and which side is down, because this is much darker. So when we stamp, we'll know which way that goes. And then this is our sentiment. May your journey take you to many new and exciting places, which is fun. Whoopsie. And then this is a great stamp set for masculine cards. So I really like it for that purpose. We also have our Baker's Twine Essentials pack. This is something new. So this comes in a 5-pack, just like you see, and we get all these great colors. So there's a white and off-white, kind of a tan color, a gray, and a black. So it's all in one pack for just $11. So that's really a nice thing to have, especially for masculine cards. And then our colors we're going to use Misty Moonlight and Balmy Blue to make our cabin scene, and then a little bit of Cherry Cobbler for our sentiment. I have my green glue, and I also have some Stampin' Sale Plus. pencil and eraser because we're going to have to cut a notch. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then we have Mossy Meadow for our base. So 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. I'll put that aside for a moment. And then we have a piece of Misty Moonlight, I think 3 1/4 square, 3 1/4, no, 3 3/4 square for that piece. And then for our basic white, I think that's 3.5 by 3 1/4 or so. Yeah, because the stamp is a little bit, it's not quite a rectangle, it's a little bit off. So we're going to place that right onto the white paper. And then we need another little piece, which is I think about 1 by maybe 2.5 or so for our sentiment. All right, let's get started on with our sentiment. We'll do that first. I like to do my stamping first. So we're going to open up our Cherry Cobbler. Cherry Cobbler is kind of a cool color. It's actually more brown when stamped with versus red. So it coordinates really nicely with all of the darker shades of ink and cardstock. So I'm just going to ink that up and stamp right there. There we go. That turned out nice. So I'll give that a minute to dry. And now the fun part, to do our cabin image here. All right, so I'm going to show you how to do this with 2 colors. We're going to start with our lighter color, which is our Balmy Blue. And again, we want to make sure that we're stamping with the lighter color on this bottom part. And we can tell the bottom because it has this little swirl thingy. All right, so I'm just going to take my ink and I'm going to press it right onto my stamp, keeping in mind where that center seam is. So I want my ink to mostly just be on the bottom part. If it goes over a little bit toward the top line, that is okay. So I'm just adding that. Okay, that looks good. So you can see I only inked up the right half of that. Okay, that looks good. Then I'm going to take my darker color, so our Misty Moonlight, and do the same thing but on the other side of the stamp. And whoops, I got a little piece of something on there. What's that? All right, and then I'm going to ink up just to that middle line with the darker ink. And the reason we do the lighter ink first is because if I did the darker ink and then pressed my lighter ink pad into it, I could get a lot of that dark ink onto the lighter pad, which I certainly don't want to do. All right, that looks good. And if it goes over a little bit, that is fine. Okay, and now we're ready to stamp. So it's that easy. You're gonna love this look. It is so fun. And then we're just gonna place this right onto our paper. Press down. Oh, isn't that cool? Look at that. I just love that. So it gives kind of that, just that like lighter shade, kind of like the reflection in the lake or on the frozen lake. I love that. That is so, so pretty. So it's that easy. All right, we'll give that a second to dry here. And then next we're going to work on cutting a notch in the bottom of our piece of Misty Moonlight paper. And so instead of trying to cut and get that be real even just by cutting, I like to use my ruler. So this is, let's see, 3 3/4, so approximately 1 7/8 I think is our middle here. Actually, yeah, 3/4 square. So I'm gonna kind of estimate maybe like a 1/2 inch up, and I can use my grid paper right here. So that's 1/2 inch. So I'm going to kind of estimate where that center point is. I'm just using a pencil to mark that. Okay, so I think I want that to be at right about at that point. And then I'm just going to take my ruler and go from the corner to that point that I drew with my pencil. Just make a little bit of a line. And then the same thing on the other side here. And then I'll have a line that I can follow when I cut. All right, and then I'm just going to take my scissors. Kind of hard to see here. I've got a reflection. And I'll cut right to the middle. And then the other side. So super easy. Just kind of helps to get that nice and straight and looking even. There we go. All right, and then any pencil marks that remain, we can just take an eraser and remove those. All right, so that part's ready, and then we're going to go back to our image here, and we could leave it just like that, but in the catalog they cut around, leaving just a little tiny border of white, and this will take like 30 seconds to do really quickly. So again, when cutting, I always like to just keep my scissor stationary and then rotate my paper so it's nice and easy. Definitely want to have a pair of good sharp scissors when doing this, but it's kind of a way to cut out by hand. We call it fussy cutting, which is definitely one of my favorite things. I don't mind it. Some people do mind it. Mickey, that's you, right? So some people would definitely prefer to have a die, but this is the, if we don't have a die, like this particular set does not have a coordinating die, we can kind of make it look like it has a die by simply cutting around. Again, on that corner, I'm just rotating my paper, keeping the scissor engaged, and so there, we are almost done. That took maybe 30 seconds, right? And it gives such a wow. And again, right around that corner. There we go. Isn't that cool? So I love that look. It's really fun. Okay, that's done. And now our next step is to add some twine. And it looks like they might have used this brown color one, maybe. Yeah, I think I'll use that one. But of course, there's all these different choices, and anything would look kind of cool on here. Gives it kind of a, just like more of a rustic kind of a look. So I'm going to pull off. Wow, this is crazy. What happened here? I don't know. All right. So I'm just going to pull off a length. And the way that they did it in the catalog is it looks like they went around 3 times with the twine. Actually, they put this on first. So I'm going to glue this part on using a little bit of our white Tombow glue. I really like using this glue. I've kind of switched from using the tape runner over to this liquid glue exclusively, and I'm so happy. It is easy to use and not too expensive. I think this is only $4, so it's a really good economical way to use adhesive. Okay, so this is a little bit skewed off to the side like this. Okay, that looks about right. Look how that pops when I put that onto the blue paper. Okay, and then our next step is to take our twine, and then we're gonna make 3 widths. So I'm cutting this just a little bit wider than my paper, and this is kind of a trick. So it conserves the twine. Instead of going all the way around the card, we're just going to do like a fake kind of a look, a fake bow. And I'm going to flip this over and use my Stampin' Seal Plus, which is very strong. And I'm going to add a little bit of that onto the back side here. Oh dear. Sometimes that happens. This stuff is so strong, it just like grips the paper and tears it. There we go. Okay, so I'm just putting those two like that. And then I'm going to take my twine and I'm layering that around the front, but wrapping it in the back on top of that adhesive. Kind of keeping in mind that I want the layers to be around the center kind of point between the 2 different colors. And here's another one. We're going to kind of skew these a little bit so they overlap like that. And sometimes if we try to go all the way around with our ribbon or twine and then try to tie that bow or knot, it gets kind of gappy, right? It's not always easy to hold that tight. So there's our 3 pieces. That's how it looks on the front. And then on the back, I just have them connected like that. And this is super sticky, so those are going to hold. They aren't going to go anywhere. And so there, we have the front. And then I'm going to take another piece, and we're going to tie a bow under here. So I like to not cut that off of the spool. This is a big floppy bow, so I'm going to use, I don't know, maybe like 12 inches or so of this. And then I'll tie the bow. And I'm trying to think of the red gems I'm going to grab, which I forgot to bring. Okay, that looks good. It has kind of long tails on it. There we go. That looks nice. All right, and then our assembly. So there is something on the front of this card which I don't have, so I'm just going to leave mine blank. It has a designer paper that's exactly this color, but I don't really have that, so I'm just going to leave it blank. It's completely okay to, of course, improvise. If we don't have something, use something else, but I think I'm just going to leave my card plain. I like the look of having this just be a little bit plainer. Okay, so then this is going to go on the card. So I will use my glue again. All right, and then I'm going to put this, I'm going to keep the white part of it, the cabin piece of it is straight, but the Misty Moonlight piece is a little bit crooked. Oh, I completely forgot to do something. All right, darn it. Let me grab a Kleenex here. All right, so again, the white glue is awesome. I did this last week too. I made a little mistake, but we can just easily wipe that off. And this is well worth doing because what I'm going to show you is so fun. All right, so we're going to take just the top of our card or cardstock and run our thumb along to distress that edge. So I hope you can see what I'm doing here. So you just take your nail and it just distresses the paper to give it a little bit of interest. There we go. Isn't that fun? I love that look. And we used to have a tool that did this and they discontinued that, but you can get the same effect from using your fingernails. So, all right, now we'll go back and add more glue. Okay, let's see. I think we'll put that just like that. And then our bow, whoops, don't want those tails stuck under there. All right, and then our sentiment, we'll bring that in. We're going to add some dimensionals on there. And those are, I'm using the little tiny ones. Those are handy at the moment. We have the two sizes, of course. So we'll add these to the corners as well as, I always like to put one in the middle when I have a little bigger piece I'm adding, just so it doesn't sag in the middle. Now my fingers are all full of glue, so I'm super sticky. All right, there. And then our bow, when we do the bow this way, by tying it on after, we can kind of slide it around where we might like it to be. So that's another advantage of doing it that way. So I'm going to keep that right about there. And then we'll add our sentiment. There we go. Now I need to grab some red gems, so I will be right back. Okay, so these are the ones I found. These are the red rhinestone basic gems. They were the most handy, but we could put any color gem on there just to add a little bit of sparkle. And I'm going to use my U-Pick tool, which of course I don't have handy. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'm going to use the putty end of this, and we'll add, looks like maybe 5 of these guys. So we'll put one there, and this makes it really easy to add gems using this tool because they stick right onto the putty, and then we can place them right on our card wherever we'd like them to be. Okay, and then one more down like that. All right, I think we're done. Isn't that fun? I love this stamp set. So this background, again, you could stamp anything on the back, right? I kind of like it plain, but a piece of designer paper under there would surely look really pretty, or kind of just an all-over stamp. Could add a little more interest, but I really like how it turned out. So let me show you the catalog version and then my version. So there we have it, and that again is our Reflected in Nature stamp set. It's just $20. It's on page 60 of our mini catalog. So if I can help you with that or any other products from Stampin' Up, feel free to let me know, and I'd be happy to get that ordered for you. All right, everybody. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and I will see you again next Saturday. Bye-bye.